My name is Brandy Hamblin, and my son's father, Callion Hamblin, was killed on February 20th, 2012. And I just want to tell you a little bit about what happened. He was on the run, you would say. He had skipped bond for a few weeks. I would say 2 to 3 weeks, maybe something like that. The bondsman and the police were looking for him. They came to my house on several different occasions. The police and the bondsman, or people that work for the bondsman, came to the house, searched the house late at night with my son there. My dog was barking. It was very traumatizing for my son. The evening of February 20th, Cal had called, and he said in a whispering voice, "You gotta come get me. They're shooting at me." And I said, "What?" And he said, "The bondsmen, they're shooting at me." And he was whispering. And I just said, I can't. And he hung up. It was late at night, I would say 11, 12 o'clock at least. And I didn't hear from him for a few minutes, probably 10, 15 minutes later. He called back and whispered the same thing. He said, "You have to come get me. They're shooting at me, and it's cold and I don't have a coat." So I took it he was outside, probably running or hiding somewhere. Again, it was late at night, and my son was in bed asleep. I told him I can't. And then, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 minutes later, that's when the police came to my house. And they were looking for him, wanted to know, have I seen him? Have I talked to him? I told him that he had called and whispered for me to come pick him up, that he was being shot at, but that I couldn't. One of the police officers asked me to call him from my cell phone and have him come to my house, and I told him that I was not going to do that, that he would not believe that I wanted him to come to my house at 12:30 in the morning. And he said, "Well, that's fine, we'll call him." And so anyway, they searched my house, searched all the rooms, made sure he wasn't there, and they left. Probably, I don't really know, maybe an hour, 45 minutes went by, and my boyfriend had went outside on the back porch to smoke a cigarette. And he said, "I think they got him. Come here, listen to this." And as I went and walked out on the back porch, you could hear them say, "Get on the fucking ground." And they repeated that at least 2 to 3 times, more than once. They said, "Get on the fucking ground." And then all I heard was, it sounded like a pack of black cats went off. It was pop, 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 pop. And my heart sank inside. I knew exactly what it was. I knew it was gunshots. And I grabbed my keys off the kitchen table, and me and my boyfriend jumped in my car, and we drove in the direction that we heard the gunshots. We went about 4 blocks to the end of the street to Karsh, and across the street at USA Drug parking lot was full of police cars and an ambulance. So I pulled into the parking lot, and I jumped out of the car, and hysterically I was just like, "Has he been shot? Has he been shot?" And I was greeted with several police officers like backing me up towards my car, saying, "Get in your fucking car, this is an investigation." And I screamed to them, you came to my house asking questions. All I want to know is he okay?" And they told me again to get in my fucking car, and if I had any questions, I needed to call the chief of police. So I got back in my car for fear that I would be arrested and not know anything. I drove back home, and I called the local hospitals. I called Parkland asked them if they had anybody by that name. I mean, they were reluctant to give me any information. Finally told me no. The same thing with Mineral Area Hospital. I called them. They said they didn't have anybody by that name. I actually had the phone number to the bail bondsman's wife, and I was texting her, please tell me, is he okay? I heard the gunshots from my house. I just want to know if he's okay. And she finally replied, I think he's been hit, but I don't know. I made numerous calls to the Farmington Police Department. I asked them repeatedly to please tell me what had happened. I heard the gunshots. I drove to the crime scene. I just want to know if I have to tell my son if his father is dead or alive when he wakes up in the morning. And they didn't, they just kept saying someone will get back with you. The gunshots happened around 2 a.m. in the morning. And at 4 a.m., I still knew nothing as to whether he was dead or alive. So I called a local news station and told them that there was a shooting in Farmington, Missouri, and that it was my ex-husband, my son's father, and that I was getting no information from the police. Could they please help me? And within 10 minutes of that phone call, I got a call from the chief of police saying that he was dead, that they did shoot him, and that he was deceased. And he said, the chief of police said, I'm sorry it took so long. I was at home in bed asleep. Like, sorry to inconvenience him to give me a phone call. And that's pretty much the gist of what happened that night. Then, the media came to my house and they interviewed me that morning. It was probably 7:30 by the time Channel 2 got there. I did tell them all the details that I've just told you, what I heard, the gunshots I heard, how I was treated. However, none of that was aired on the news. The only thing that was aired was that he was a criminal on the run from police with a past. But none of the facts of that night was actually given for everyone to hear. And then it was printed in the paper that his body lay there on the pavement until 6 o'clock that following morning. And he lay there for hours. Like I said, when I pulled up on the scene, just moments after the shots were fired, there was an ambulance sitting there. However, no one was being put in an ambulance. The ambulance wasn't, getting ready to leave. I just feel like they made no effort to even try to save him.
Reveal unto us exactly what happened on that night. Continue to bless us with the answers that we seek. Father God, continue to let our bodies be warm on this evening as we think about the warmth of a friendship that we've had in Cal. These blessings and others we ask in Jesus' name we pray. And the people of God said, Amen. Amen. Amen.
After I heard the gunshots and had went to the scene and was trying to figure out what was going on, if he was, dead or alive, I called Eddie, who we call Kane, like Cal's brother, basically, and asked him if he had spoken with him, and he said yes, that Cal had called him earlier that evening and said the same thing. He told him that they were shooting at him, he needed someone to come pick him up, that he was going to turn himself in to the bondsman, but I guess they didn't give him the chance. Shots were fired and Cal was running, basically, is what he had told me, and needing a ride, someone to pick him up from wherever he was, running on foot. And Kane also was unable to go and pick him up at that time. The effects that my son has from this is, I mean, it was horrible that morning. I woke him up very early before the media got there, before he seen it on TV, and told him that his dad had been shot and killed. And oh, it was an awful sight. I mean, this broke his heart. And as a mother, it broke my heart to have to tell him that. He has very, I would say, negative opinion of the police. He has severe anxiety. If we can't even go to the gas station. If there's a police car there, he doesn't want to go in. If we pass a cop car on the road, he, I would say, has a little bit of rage. He might say something like, I wish something bad would happen to him. I wish he would wreck his police car and see how that feels, which is a 12-year-old's way of dealing with the hurt that he feels. To the point that he had his bike stolen several months, 4 or 5 months ago. He had his bike stolen from our driveway that was locked and chained. And I asked him, I said, we need to go down to the police station and make a report. And he would not go to the police station. And I just hope that he doesn't grow up to be an angry teenager. I hope he's not angry towards the police, because that's only going to put him in the same predicament that his father was in. Cal was a very good father. He was very good with his boys. He has 2 children, Xavier and Keandre. They loved him very much, adored him. There was one summer in particular that they spent a lot of time with him at his house, and have very good memories. Anybody that's seen Cal with his boys would tell you the same thing, that he was very good with his boys, and they idolized him.
Say that I love you so much, Cal, and your son loves you, and we miss you with all our hearts. Come here, be on here with me. We miss you so much, and we wish you were here. I don't know what else to say, otherwise I'm gonna start crying. But,
I love you, bruh.
But me and your brother became so close after this, and Dre misses you every day. There's not a day that goes by that he doesn't miss you.
Just know we here for you, bro.
Please just watch over us and just help me guide him in the right way, because I can't do it all alone by myself. Thank you.
And I will help her a lot with Dre. I'll be the greatest.
I've known Cal for 15 years now, and over the years, me and Cal, we've grown close. We've grown to become more like brothers. We considered ourselves as brothers. Everywhere he went, we was together, and everywhere I went, we was together. My reason for doing this is for justice for his name, because, I feel as if the story that was put out there to the media, to the newspaper, to the public, it just don't add up to me. It makes no sense at all. He was a smart person, he was a smart man, and I know that in a situation like that, if he knew the outcome of it, which he knew the outcome of it, in a situation like that he wouldn't have put himself in that situation. On the night of the his murder, I received a call from Cal. I don't know, it was around maybe between 12 and 1. I received a call from him, and he called me and he was like, "Little bro," he's like, "I'm running again." He's like, the bounty hunters came to the apartment I was in, and they knocked on the door. He was like, I had all intentions on giving myself up. You know, he was like, because I was tired of running. He was like, but he couldn't. As he was trying to get out the door, they was trying to keep the door shut. So he found a new way out, and he took off running again. And he said, as he was running, he heard gunshots. You know, so he kept running. You know, but by the time he called me, you know, he was like, you know, I need a place to go for the night. He was like, can I come to your house? And I was like, of course you can come to my house. You know, just let me know what's going on, you know. And he was like, well, I'm going to call you back in about 15 minutes. You know, I'm going to try to find a ride to your house. Well, I ended up receiving a call later on from Brandy, you know, asking me how I talked to Cal. And I told her, yeah, I just talked to him probably about 20 minutes ago. You know, he was telling me the situation that went down, and he said he was going to find a ride to my house, call me back and let me know. And she said, well, I heard gunshots, and I got a bad feeling. You know, I'm like, well, Brandy, if you heard them, you need to go find out what's going on. That way we know we ain't in the dark on it. You know, so she was like, all right, I'm going to do that. And she's like, I'm going to call you back. You know, eventually, later on, I received a call that he had been shot.
The reason we ask for justice, justice provides peace, harmony, tranquility. It fosters love, community, togetherness, and all of that stuff. And in the absence of justice, then we don't have any peace. Right now, Shirley, not getting the peace that Shirley ought to have. She ought to be able to bring some closure to the passing of her son. But she doesn't have peace. Her children, some of them are probably even afraid, unfortunately, to speak truth to power, of the police because of what they understood the police done to their father. So we don't have any justice, and we don't have any peace. And so I am maladjusted to injustice. And that's what'll make me get in my car and drive all the way down to Farmington to see about what we can do about trying to get some justice. And I tell you what, you all being out here speaks volumes of this community desire to have answers and to have justice here in Farmington. So give yourselves a hand. Yeah. All right, all right. Now, I never met Smoke, but I read about Smoke. Never read who some of y'all call Cal, but I haven't met him, but I read about him. And what I read personally about him and how he was striving to get better and do better things in his life and find employment, all that kind of good stuff, anything that anybody would ask of a man. Then to find out that in an open field, he shot 6 times, left for 4 hours before an ambulance that's parked down the street comes and get him. Now, regardless of how it happened, that is an injustice in and of itself that they willingly admitted to.
I mean, the story just don't add up to me. You know, I mean, why does it take, you know, bounty hunters to be involved in a situation like this? You know, I understand that they owed him, that he owed them money, you know, but I mean, this is a job for the law enforcement, you know, and you got the local law enforcers, you got the sheriff departments, and you got 2 bounty bail bonds agency all involved in the shooting that resulted in ending a man's life. And I mean, that don't make no sense, you know. I mean, y'all train law enforcement to apprehend suspects in situations like this, you know. And for y'all to kill a man over a couple $1,000, just, I mean, that don't make no sense. Up until the incident of his death, you know, the bail bondsman agencies, Mike Cross's bail bondsman and his bounty hunters, they came to my job, other people's houses, all the people that they knew Cal had some type of dealings with. They came to their houses and all that and tried to find out where Cal was at. And in the process of doing so, they made threats. They said that when they find Cal, that they would hurt Cal, you know. And there's, you know, in a situation like that, that leads me to believe that this whole time when you come to my job to harass me while I'm working, to make a living for my family and all that, and you telling me you're going to hurt this man, in other words, or so many words, you telling me you're going to kill this man. That's how I look at it, you know, because that's what happened. It resulted in his death, you know, and I just don't understand, like, how is that justice? You know, I mean, his family don't have no closure. His kids don't have no closure. His friends don't have no closure. Don't nobody really know what went on that night. But Cal and the law enforcement and the bail enforcement agency. And of course, they not going to tell what actually happened that night. You know.
Let me start off, first of all, expressing my deepest sympathy to his mother, Callion's mother, as well as to his sons, as well as to all of you who have expressed your love by just being here. I'm here out of St. Louis because I think out of this particular tragedy, we have to consistently speak truth to power. And the truth to power that must be spoken of is the situation that exists not only here in Farmington as an extension of Callion's death, but what is happening all across America as it relates to black people as well as the police system of America. And not only that, we have to look at the whole complex of issues impacting our community. And what do I mean by that? Along with the many killings that's taken place all across this country, there is a grand effort to incarcerate a generation of black youth. It is a damn shame, forgive the use of damn, but it is a damn shame that black males are 6% of the United States population, yet 70% of those incarcerated.
I mean, we don't know the truth. That's basically what this is about. We want to know the truth. We want to know what happened, you know, because if y'all was looking for a man to bring him in, if it was that serious, you know, that you had to call his phone company and track his whereabouts as if he was some type of serial killer or something like that to kill this man, if it was that serious, then I believe we should know the truth, you know, because this is one man who was just fleeing from the police and the bail bonds because he didn't want to go back to jail because he owed them a couple $1,000, you know, and for you to take a man's life over a couple $1,000 is just unreal.
Quoting, a human rights crisis confronts black people in the United States. According to this study that was done for a 6-month period, starting January 1st, 2012, and it came as an extension of the killing of Trayvon Martin, police and a much smaller number of security guards and self-appointed vigilantes murdered at least 120 black men and women during that particular period, which is systematic of what is taking place overall. The killings are definitely not accidental or random acts of violence or the work of rogue cops. The use of deadly force against black people is standard practice in the United States and woven into the very fabric of this society. The media, the corporate media, have given very little attention to these extrajudicial killings. We call them extrajudicial because they happen without a trial or any due process against all international law and human rights conventions. Those few mainstream media outlets that mention the epidemics of killings have been unwilling to acknowledge that the killings are systemic, meaning that they are embedded in the institutional racism and national oppression. On the contrary, nearly all of the mainstream media join in a chorus that sings the praises of the police and read from the same script that denounces the alleged thuggery of the deceased. But as you know, they trying to say that our good brother was shooting at them, and that's why they shot at him. I challenge them to come forth with the officer who's supposed to be shot. Does that bullet match the so-called gun that he was alleged to have used? And that needs to be found out by the people. Sadly, too many people believe the police version of events, and the media's blame the victim narratives that justify and support these extrajudicial killings.
When there's no witnesses, there's no one around to say, okay, yeah, that is what happened. A story that the police is giving us, that's what happened. We saw it. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. There's nobody there to say that. You know, why couldn't y'all do that at 12 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the afternoon? You know, if y'all wanted him that bad, if it was that serious, you could have did it at that time. That way, if it ended this way, there's witnesses around to tell, okay, well, yeah, that's what happened. We seen it with our own eyes. You know, Cal would have never put himself out there, you know what I'm saying, to be killed that night, knowing he had his 2 boys, you know, 2 grown boys. He raised them, you know. He did what he could for his kids, you know what I'm saying. Anything they needed, he went out his way to get it. You know, he provided for them as much as he can. You know, he loved them. He put them above everybody, you know what I mean? And he didn't want, you know what I'm saying, his kids to, you know what I'm saying, know what he been through. You know what I'm saying? He don't want his kids to believe that he was a bad father or a bad person overall. You know what I'm saying? His kids got to go to school with some of the kids of the officers and the bail sponsors that did it to him. You know what I'm saying? And imagine how that's going to be as they grow up. You know what I'm saying? You got people, you might have kids laughing at him because, oh, my father killed your father. You know what I mean? Because your father was a drug dealer. Your father was a bad person. You know what I'm saying? You can't explain it to a child. You know what I'm saying? And that's enough to harm a child himself and send a child down that same road, you know. And Xavier and Dre, them are both good kids, very smart, you know what I'm saying. So I just want to be able to give, you know what I'm saying, them closure, as well as me bringing in the rest of his family, his mother up in St. Louis and all that. Everybody want to know what happened that day, you know what I'm saying. Them are my little nephews, you know what I'm saying. And I mean, I'm going to love them like my own nephew. You know, every time I see X, I tell him I love him, I hug him and all that, you know, because Smoke was my brother. Cal was my brother, you know, and it's hard. It's hard to believe, you know, that this happened. I wouldn't never seen this outcome coming.
Okay. First thing I love about my dad's when before he died, he would he was a good. My mom always said he was a good best friend and not a good boyfriend. But he used to play football with me. He taught me how to play basketball in the park, and he's the one that taught me my manners for real. So I have number 32 because that's how old he was when he died. And he taught me how to play football and basketball. And we used to go over to his house all the time. And we would watch this funny movie called Norbit. I have number 10 because that's the day he was born, June 10th. And some people say I look like my dad, but I mostly look like we both look like our moms. So my dad, I used to go over to his house when Dre didn't, and he let me play his remote control car that went 70 miles an hour. And I remember the day that me and X and Dad was playing with the remote control, and I had a fancy Dodge Charger, and I got it all scraped up because of his. And I broke it because of my monster. Yeah. And so we had some good times. And we'll be strong till today. Your turn. You go. So, I remember the day they both Dad both gave us some iPods. I got the green one. He's got the silver one. And I got the green one. It was just one of those iPods that didn't have a screen. It was the iPod Shuffle. And back then they didn't have the new iPod Nano. So, yeah. About 3 years ago, I went to his apartment. Me and him used to play, listen to Tupac.
And we played Tekken on the PlayStation.
Yeah, and I get to play as Need for Speed game. He had a red Mercedes Benz with big rims. Just real cool.